2.
Meet Dave of Delusions of Grandeur, actor, producer, and director of films like Tales of the Forgotten. He has come to assemble a team of freaks, geeks, and even worse, film nerds, to discuss films ranging from mainstream to downright crazy. There is Tammy, car enthusiast, and Dave's fiance, Dustin, reptile expert and overall horror collector, Jake, environmentalist and fine art film critic, and finally Brandon, a therapist with a love of film that can only be seen as insanity. Together under Dave's leadership, they are inside movies galore. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the show.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another exciting film journey here on Delusions of Grandeur. I am one of your hosts, but today we are going on be going on about a film that our good friend Boris put forward for us, kind of last minute, but you know that's how we do things. But we were able to watch the movie in time, and because we were having some technical difficulties, but worked out okay. I hope, and we were able to watch the film for today. So why don't you tell us what film you subjected us to? God damn it! Why did you make me cry?
Oh, I'm sorry. This time I picked a movie that a local friend of mine suggested, which is different from what I usually pick. It's a movie called I Am Sam from 2001, directed by Jessie Nelson, written by Christine Johnson and Jessie Nelson, starring Sean Penn, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Dakota Fanning. Yeah, this time it's more of a drama movie, not the horror I usually go for. So it says, an intellectually disabled man fights for the custody of his 7-year-old daughter, and in the process teaches his cold-hearted lawyer the value of love and family. So, was this the first time you guys watched this movie, and what were your first impressions?
I guess I'll go first. No, it was not my first time. I watched it a long time ago, and I actually liked it enough that I went and bought it. So, um, I thought it was really good. It to me a lot of the movie is a tearjerker, you know, because
Yes.
it really makes you think about how society treats people with disabilities at times, and it's sad, you know.
Yes.
There's, you know, if a person is able to be on their own and take care of themselves, there's no reason why they should not be able to take care of themselves and somebody else, you know. And to try and take that away from somebody that is functioning well on their own it's not right, you know. He wanted to be just as productive as everybody else, you know. He didn't want to be thought of as being different or anything, you know. And I think a lot of people in his situation with his disability probably feel the same way. They want to have a life like everybody else, and why shouldn't they? If they can survive on their own, why shouldn't they? I mean, I realize there's people that are mentally challenged that can't really survive on their own, that they do need help or need guidance or whatever. But even those people with help and guidance should be able to live as close to a life like we do. You know, they
Yeah,
shouldn't they shouldn't be held back because they were born with this disability. You know,
They shouldn't be measured by their ounce of intelligence.
no, I feel that according, you know, everybody is entitled to. I guess I don't want to classify it as to where we live, but everybody's entitled to live like they say the American dream. You know, have a job, have a family, have a house. You know,
yes,
even if you need help with it, I feel that you're, no matter what your disability is or your shortcomings, you still are entitled to this. You know, and nobody should look down on you.
indeed.
Okay, is that pretty much it for you then?
Yeah, for now.
Okay. This was my first time watching it. It's not that I hadn't heard of it, but it wasn't on my to watch at a given point in time. But I probably should have, even though it brought me to tears. Um, because it was really depressing to see him go through what he had to go through, and those state people were just wrong. I mean, I feel like, well, because I have a disability myself, and I live um you know in the United States. I feel what if feels like like shit. She's my daughter. She should come home with me. You know. Um,
Yes,
and it doesn't matter whether I have supposedly the mind of a 6-year-old child or whatnot. I've been taking care of my child for this long, and you're telling me I can't. I love how the state loves to get involved in situations and think that they can parent people better. You know,
well, yes,
I I don't think that uh, a society built on people who have been brought up by the state or government officials is a really good society to have, and I think that's partially why things are so bad in the United States right now. We've got so many broken homes in the U.S. It's pathetic, you know.
yes.
But I enjoyed this. I think Michelle Pfeiffer was still good looking at this point in time.
Oh,
Um,
yes,
she's kind of gotten older looking as time goes on. Um, but I remember when she did look as hot as she did here. So, um, that being said, it was an interesting a movie with uh an interesting situation. Dakota Fanning was very young at this time. Her sister hadn't surpassed her by this point. This was at the height of Dakota Fanning's film career. To be
Oh,
fair and honest, I mean, there were a couple she did with. I think she was in Uptown Girls. I think no, maybe she was, maybe she wasn't. Um, all I know is that she had a very promising childhood career, but as she was growing into her teenage years, it's her sister that kind of surpassed her in that. So, but other than that, um, it was a very intense drama for a little bit, and I guess I liked seeing the actor who played Percy Wetmore in The Green Mile kind of play an okay guy. You know, he
oh,
played a jerk in The Green Mile,
oh, yeah, yeah.
but
Interesting.
what about you, Boris?
Oh yeah, this was the first time I watched this movie. Like I said, it was one of the suggestions recently given to me by a very good local friend of mine. Um, and I also think it was very good and very intense. And it really portrays how, yeah, as you say, the state, I would say, pretends to care about the well-being of children, but then again, in a way, you can see why someone would be concerned about the well-being of a child being taken care of by someone who has the mental capacity of a 7-year-old. But then again, they in this movie they show that to them it's just easier to give that child away to someone else instead of assigning them some sort of assistant or someone who can help them who could help Sam bring up the child without separating him from the child, which basically comes down to the fact that lawmakers and the government in general, they mostly do not really care about the well-being of people. They only want to make themselves look good so they can stay in position of power and wealth.
Well, in this case, I would have to say yes, but there are instances where they do and are helpful. I can't really paint it all black and white like that, but I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, and by what I said about governments, I didn't mean only the U.S. government or the Croatian government, but I think that applies to the vast majority of governments in the world.
Yeah, let's just put it this way: the system is broken all the way around.
Yeah,
There's no if ands ors about it. I mean, face it, China used to take care of their population control by just killing off family members.
huh,
Used to, at least. That's how they. That's how I heard they used to.
huh. Okay, I kind of forgot that.
But in any case, okay. So, did you want to bring us into the plot line then?
Oh yes, yes. So at the very beginning, we get to know Sam Dawson. The story begins in 1993. He works as a bartender at Starbucks,
He
and we
works as a
find out.
janitor at Starbucks.
Ah, oh,
He's
uh,
not a bartender.
wait, wasn't he serving coffee, or did I miss it?
Um, he was not serving coffee as of yet.
Ah, I'm sorry. Yeah, this was the first time I watched the movie, so I maybe didn't memorize every single
Yeah, he
detail.
was just a janitor who cleaned up inside the Starbucks, and everyone one he worked with knew he had a disability, and was not allowed to touch the coffee because he was very clumsy.
Ah, so yeah, from what we understood, he has,
Basically, a stalker and a cleanup person.
yeah, so he has a severe case of autism, one that impacts his IQ, which is supposedly very low. As we find out, he has an intellectual disability, the mental capacities of a 7-year-old.
Yep.
So we learned that he became a single father. Somehow, I must admit, I didn't fully get that part of the story.
Okay, so that part of the story, I'll explain. Very beginning, he's got that stalker job at Starbucks, and his boss tells him he's late, and he has to be reminded that his intended is in labor, and by the time he gets to the hospital, she's in labor. She doesn't want anything to do with him, not even hold his hand or anything. And he gets hold of the child. They're supposed to take the bus, and she just often leaves him standing there, and he's got to go home with the child and be able to support her and take care of her. Well, during that time, um, with help from his friends and his neighbor, who doesn't go out and see anyone, probably due to abuses of her own. They all help him
She's
raise.
somewhat of an agoraphobic. That's, she doesn't go out. When later on she'll say that she just had enough of everything that society, so she didn't want to go out anymore. She so she somewhat had the phobia of not what they, I think that's what they call agoraphobia,
But
but
she somewhat unwittingly became like the babysitter for
but she
his
didn't have to
child.
go anywhere to be the babysitter.
No, she didn't,
You
and
know,
she didn't have to come over or anything. Thing. He just went to her for help, and in a lot of ways, his friends who have disabilities who come over and have a movie night all ultimately have been kind of like surrogate dads in a sense, because they're all giving their opinions when she needs new shoes and things of that nature. You
and they
know,
all have they all had different variations of disabilities too.
correct.
So
And variations of intelligence, and they all of them seemed intelligent in what they knew.
and they all work together to help him and help his child. I mean, what they were lacking in intelligence and things like that, they made up for in the love that they had for him and his daughter, and um, their sense of right and wrong, you know, and their sense of help. You know, they they
Yeah.
might have had all these other things that weren't quite right with them, but they had, to me, they had all the right things right with them.
Oh yeah.
Uh, yes. Well, When I said there was something I didn't understand, I actually meant I didn't understand how Sam ended up having sex with some woman and getting her pregnant to begin with.
Well, evidently, well, according to the guy later on, she was a homeless woman. But I'm not entirely sure what she was. Not sure exactly what she was, but I know that all we know is that she was the mother of the child, and the child had questions about her mom and whether she would actually come back or anything. Dakota was quite a cute child when she was growing up. So at this point in time, she was in the cute stage, you know. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we don't really get a background on the mother, but it does,
it doesn't really matter.
no. But even if she was what we later find out that she was homeless or whatever, and we don't know how they got together, she still was wrong to just up and take off.
I agree. She was wrong, no matter what. But it seemed like the mother had problems too. So whether or not she had problems or not, it was still wrong of her to do what she did. And we need to know as people that that is not right.
Yes.
So, but any case, we'll get you back to hosting here. Where are we?
So, yeah, the girl was born. Her name was Lucy. She was named after the Beatles song "Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds."
Yes, he really seems to be get into the Beatles, and he remembers all kinds of dates and things that have to do with the Beatles, which you know, no
I think is
offense, my
unique.
dear, but in a way, you remember dates. You remember um, actors, and you remember directors and everything of movies. Boom, 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 boom. But when it comes to remembering other things, you're not always the greatest. But you have the same quality though that he has
I
as
It's
far
remember the
as
not a
important things.
common trait in autism.
I remember the important things. Yeah, I get it.
other things are important too, my dear. But I think it does have something to do with your disability. That's where your focus is, just like that was a focus for him.
Matters of importance are opinions.
Uh,
But in any case,
Actually, that's true.
but in any case, moving forward.
Uh,
So we
yes,
understand the background of him a little bit. We understand that he's got his various friends. We mentioned the neighbor.
yes, and so yeah, Lucy lives with Sam until she is 7 years old. I think things kind of go okay until her seventh birthday, right?
Correct. And there's this kid that oh, he's a snot nosed kid, if there ever was one. Um, he is a nasty little bugger. He basically is very negative about her dad, calls him a retard and everything like that. That. And I think because of his comments to her, she begins to exhibit in school Uh, in fact, when her teachers call her dad in to explain to him that she um she is refusing to learn anything more, to exceed beyond her expectations. It's almost like she's afraid to learn, to
Uh,
to
Because
learn
she
more.
right, because she's gonna learn more than have more of a capacity of what she's learned than what her father's at.
Correct.
So
yeah, and
when she's 8 years old, she'll probably know more and everything than her father because he is supposed to be at a 7-year old's level.
Correct. And the only book that he seems to be able to read to her is Green Eggs and Ham.
yeah,
Dr. Seuss's Green Eggs and Ham. And there's a book that he keeps trying to read to her, or have her read to him, and it says something about being different in there, and she doesn't like the way that it sounds, because it sounds pretty similar to her intelligence compared to her dad's intelligence, kind of thing, you know. So she tries to hide the fact that she's getting smarter. And after that talk that the teachers had, he convinces her to keep reading on that book and succeed even more. And eventually, evidently, there's a favorite restaurant that they go to, which is IHOP, which honestly is not my favorite anymore. But we used to go there a lot. It's a breakfast joint, and the lady there seems to know them. He likes this specific thing, and because he's autistic, change is not something that we autistans or autistic kids cannot really deal with. Um,
uh,
very much. If something changes, we throw fits. uh, so that's exactly what happens when he takes his daughter to Bob's. Uh, what was it? Big Boy.
Bob's Big Boy. It was a Big Boy restaurant. Yes.
Which I've been to Big Boys. Big Boys used to be a thing. There used to be a hell of a lot more of them around, but the chain kind of died. Uh, although it came back, and there's one. I forget exactly where that one is, but um, it's no longer Mark's Big Boy. At least that was the chain here. Um, but Bob's Boys is a breakfast joint. Oftentimes, it would have a buffet in it, somewhere, an all-day buffet, whether it be breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But they went there to order, you know, similar food to what they would have had at IHOP.
Well, yeah,
But
they Big Boys had a buffet on Saturdays and Sundays, but they did you could just like IHOP, you could get breakfast all day long,
correct,
but they had a lunch and a dinner menus, but you still could get breakfast all day long, which is something that IHOP offered too. But he had specific pancakes that he liked at IHOP, and Lucy tried to help because she figured out that the pancakes were basically like crepes,
yeah,
and but as
yeah,
soon as she said the word crepes, he got upset because he didn't know the pancakes at IHOP were basically crepes. He didn't understand that they were one and the same. So by her
He
saying
knew
crepes,
them as French pancakes.
right,
So he got upset, and because it was different, and he was being told he was going to get something different, it upset him tremendously. It's a hard concept for them to understand if they can't get what they want. It's not exactly an easy thing for someone with autism, like him, to understand the concept of of no, you know, or the fact that he can't and won't get what he no longer can get at this. Well, technically, he could have gotten it, but he made such a stink. But that's not his fault. It's something in the wiring, you know.
right. Technically, he could have gotten it, but he didn't understand the crepes was the same thing. So he thought that that was something different. He didn't understand that the word crepe was the same as his French pancakes. You know.
Yes.
But anyways, since his brain wasn't was wired differently, imagine that that didn't exactly go down very well. But shortly after that is when I guess the kid. I'm trying to think when they actually ra- ran into the kid. Okay, there was some science fair or a science discussion that each kid had to do, I guess, and the kid was fucking up, and then I guess the kid was then invited over to their house, and the kid was bad mouthing her dad, and she got mad, and then I guess the kid was also at her birthday party and got the dad in trouble
Yeah, why was he even at that birthday party if he treated her the way he did?
because he thought that he was a friend, and they were all there to uh help surprise his daughter's birthday, and the father should have realized that his kid was being a snot, but like most fathers, defended his child, um, and thought that he was doing something bad to his son when he was only. I forget exactly what the kid was doing. All I know is that whatever he did was wrong, and at the
Yeah,
same time, that nosy child care person came over, and she took it the wrong way. It's like, God, that colored female male like is what kind of started it all. If
Well,
her,
that's
some and
true.
along somewhere along those lines too. They were at a restaurant, and this lady came on to him, and he didn't realize what she was, and he ended up getting arrested because she was a prostitute. And this is where I think the law enforcement really needs to be aware of things, because they you could obviously tell he had not a clue that this lady was a prostitute. He was in no way, shape, or form trying to do anything with her. She was the one talking to him and coming on to him. He wasn't trying to do anything.
and
And
that's where
so,
that lady from enforcement child care came in. It became involved.
right. And it's like, how
because she
could you
couldn't
people?
leave well enough alone.
But it's like, how could you people not realize that he has not a clue what what's going on and what you arrested him for? How could you really not have a clue? You know, and that's I just couldn't believe that the way that law enforcement was on that situation. It was just totally wrong.
Well,
Yeah,
if I remember correctly, this was based on a true story.
really. Oh
I thought it
wow, I
was.
didn't know that.
I thought it was.
I think it might have been.
I'm gonna.
No, that.
Was I Am Sam based on a true story? No, okay. No, it was not. But the idea was inspired by a real life disabled father. The
Huh.
fictional movie explores themes of parenting with a disability, and the filmmakers conducted research by visiting the nonprofit organization LA Goal and cast two actors with disabilities in supporting roles. So,
Yeah.
the film's co writer, Christine Johnson, got the idea from a real life disabled father. Okay, so it was slightly based on a true story, slightly, if anything. But regardless, that was a I'm not on the side of the cops in this movie, nor the law nor the law that gets involved. What about you guys?
Yeah, like I said, the one major problem is that law enforcement works for money, and therefore it consists of people who are there for the money and not of people who genuinely care to do something good.
I wouldn't say it's for money because I don't think they get paid that well. But uh,
Hmm.
uh, cops don't get paid. Don't get. Or do you think that cops get paid that well, Tammy?
No,
Do you think that law enforcement gets paid that well?
no. I think the only person that makes any kind of money
Is the
in
lawyers?
yeah, and not the pro bono state appointed lawyers. They
Yeah,
don't.
which is what that one guy was. Um, forget his name, Tony.
Well, yeah, whatever. But for the most part, it depends on what part of law and what part of government you are in. But most, unless you're really higher up, you don't get paid worth of crap. You know, you
Yeah,
got to be something like a mayor or an official of some sort or things like that in order to make any money. You know.
they don't do it for the money. Basically, they do it because they want to be annoying to me.
Well, a lot of them, I think a lot of the ones like in this situation too. I think about half of them take their job seriously and mean well and care, and I think the other half um, resent how much money they do not get, and and look at it as just a job, and I got to push through it. Okay,
Yeah.
so I think that's kind of like how it goes. I mean, if I think some of them, if they're not getting what they want out of the job, then why should they care? You
True.
know. But some of them, I think, genuinely do care. You know, and or some of them just need a situation like what happens in this movie
Yeah.
to care, because his lawyer, we see how she comes around, was a very high priced, high profile lawyer.
And
At the beginning,
I,
yes.
I mean, I like when she was like, "I do pro bono," and everybody was laughing at her.
Right. But she comes around, which we see during the movie. But it's like, yeah, it's definitely not her normal thing. But yeah, I've watched enough stuff, and even watching regular like Law and Order or whatever, they'll be doing an investigation, and let's say they end up doing an investigation on their own, and they'll be like, on a cop's salary, he has all of that, and then that's when they realize that something ain't right, because they know how much people make, and then when they see somebody that's got a lot of stuff that they shouldn't have for their salary, then they realize that something's not right here. Something's a little corrupt.
Uh,
And I've seen that in a lot of movies and shows and stuff that I've watched, where that's how they end up finding, um, like corrupt police officers or other officials, because they're living way outside of their means, and so they know that there's something up there.
Yep. So, alrighty. So where are we?
oh, good question.
You asked if they thought that they did it for money, and it's like, no.
Well,
Uh,
no. I think to me, I think they did it to just be annoying. I know you say that some of them do it because you know they have to, or because it's the job. But
And, but if you think about it, that's basically any job. If you don't have a job that you really like, and you don't enjoy, then you're just gonna be there, and you're just gonna, you know, okay, I'm here, I'm doing it, whatever. Let's just get through the day so I can get my money. Eh, you know,
yeah,
and I think that's kind of like for every job.
it's for every job. But I think, especially these days in the law enforcement community, I think there's a lot of lawyers or court appointed lawyers who just collect a check.
Oh yeah, and a lot of those. No offense to those court appointed lawyers. A lot of those court appointed lawyers are court appointed lawyers because they just didn't either find a job in a regular law office, or they just couldn't. They weren't good enough to get into a nice law office. So this is where they're at, kind of. You know, they
yes.
ha- they haven't they haven't proven themselves enough to move on to like a nice corporate lawyer office or whatever. So this is, you want to be a lawyer, well, this is as far as you can go right now, so here you are. you know
Mhm.
so I think a,
Yeah.
a lot of court appointed lawyers, I don't think, um it depends on which side they're on. A lot of them, I don't think, give their all.
I
I
agree.
think I think the ones that are the prosecution, I think, tries to give their all because they want to make a point. They want to make themselves look good. They want to, look at I prosecuted this. I won this case, and da da da. Where the defense, I don't think, always gives their all because for what? I got 100 more cases sitting here. You know.
Yeah.
Yes.
But in any case, so what basically happens is because of that kid's lies, and I say lies because they're ultimately coming at him because the kid claimed that he hit him.
Right, and he never did. All he did was put his hand out, and that was it. Yeah, I
Right.
think he touched him on the shoulder or on the chest or whatever. He touched him. He did not hit him. He was holding. I think he was holding him back for something, or with the guy. Yeah, he wanted him to stay with everybody else to surprise her when she came in the door, and he put his hand out and to say, "Stay here with everybody." You know, he didn't hit him, but because
Yeah.
he touched him, the kid went, and
But
spread the lies.
correct. And then the father stepped in and made it worse.
Didn't that kid also, for some reason, say that Lucy was adopted?
Yeah.
He claimed that Lucy said it.
Where did that come from? That part kind of confused me.
Well, it's not that it was true or anything. A thing.
He was yelling all that at the birthday party once all the turmoil started with the father and everything. I think in order to really um make uh Sam look bad, that he started spouting out that stuff when everything went down. Well, she doesn't, she knows he's adopted. She's adopted, and she says she's adopted, and and just he was just yelling out hurtful things because you could tell that she didn't say that or whatever, and she ran out the door.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was just trying to cause more trouble and trying to be hurtful. So
Makes sense. Uh, so yeah, again, where were we?
So we are. Sorry, I have a cat trying to get into behind a bed because somebody won't leave her alone.
he was just out here.
Yeah, well, he came in here and pounced on her. But anyways, so they basically take him to court, and he's Sam is sitting there with no a lawyer or anything, and they're coming at him with all kinds of shit that he doesn't understand.
Yes.
So
Mm,
he basically tries to go to a really good lawyer and basically plead with her to take his case.
yeah, so first she says something that she will introduce him to someone who can help him, right?
I
Correct.
like how he picked his lawyer. His friends were all, look at the big ad and everything in the phone book.
Yeah. And the thing with Michelle Pfeiffer's character, she's got a kid that she doesn't know how to communicate with. She's got a husband which I believe we find out is cheating on her,
Yes.
and uh, so her marriage is basically crumbling before her very eyes, and she's used to winning cases. So when she meets Sam and she basically loses, at least the first time around. Well, actually, she
Yeah.
loses all the way around. Actually, doesn't she?
Well,
I
no,
think.
she didn't lose. It's just that she when she finally decides she's going to help him and take him on, even though she's ridiculed by other people in her law firm and her friends and everything else. She doesn't. When they go to court the first time, she she doesn't realize that he doesn't understand like any of this, and he needs to do this, he needs to do that, before their next court date. So she gets kind of frazzled because there's things that he needs to do that he's not understanding that he needs to do. And she's got a lot of stuff to get done. Plus, she's got her regular cases going on and her home life, so she's getting quite frazzled by all this. So it's not that she's lost anything at the beginning. It's just, you know, the the judge set another court date for this because he has to go and do this. Then the judge sets another court date for
Well,
this
not
part.
only that, but the one lawyer almost darn near convinces him that his daughter is better off without him,
Correct.
which is wrong in my mind.
And
How could
then,
you ever suggest to any father that they're better off without him, without any? I mean, it's not like he abused his daughter or anything like that.
Right.
well, he had finally gone to the psychiatrist for that, for what he had to go for that evaluation.
Uh
So
huh.
that prosecuting lawyer already knew that, and that's where he was basing his trying to convince him. Well, you're only at a seventh grade level, and this, and that. So don't you think she would be better off, or don't you think somebody else could give her more? Because he already knew what he was going to say in court, uh, against Sam. You
And
know.
she had figured out that psychologist,
Uh huh.
that her son had actually killed himself.
They
And
said he overdosed, but does that necessarily mean that he died?
yes, overdose means death.
Oh,
When you overdose, it normally means that someone took some pills and died.
For the most part, sometimes they don't, but for the most part,
For the most
it did sound like he'd passed. It did sound like he died.
correct. And she was basically trying to tell her and convince her that, didn't you have questions about whether you could have done things differently after he died? And she was forced to answer the question.
oh
And then
yeah.
Sam felt bad because she cried. She got upset and cried, and he felt bad. that things were pushed to that point, because that is Sam. Sam is a very caring person.
Yeah, more caring than some people deserve him to be.
And that's kind of what, you know, Michelle Pfeiffer, the lawyer, is trying to show, is that Sam might not have this quality or that quality, but he's compassionate, he's caring, he loves, he does know, for the most part, he knows right from wrong, for the most part, you know.
Yeah.
Um, his downfall is, though, he is easily manipulated,
Yeah.
and you know, and where his mental capacity is at, so that he doesn't understand things. And these are the things that the prosecutor is trying to use against him. He's
Yep.
like, once your daughter gets to this age, how are you going to explain this to her? Once she gets to this age, how are you going to deal with this? You know, how are you going to deal with continuing her education? And you know, he's nitpicking at everything. And you know, what Michelle Pfeiffer is learning also in here, as a with her own son, is there's, I'm sure you guys have all heard it before, there is no handbook out there that says how to be a parent.
Correct.
Every parent out there, whether they're a millionaire or they're a genius or they're everyday Joe Schmo, whatever, they all are learning, just just as much as their child is learning. They're learning every single day how to be a parent, because there, like I said, there is no handbook out there that says how to be a parent.
Nope. And not every handbook is the same.
There's books out there that give suggestions, give ideas, give I you know how to work through this and things like that, but there is no
Not for
actual handbook
me.
how to be a parent. You know, it's a learning time for both the parents and the child. As a child is growing up, both are learning. The parents are learning how to properly take care of the child and let them grow and let them, you know, grow up. Or the child is learning
And
how to.
because Sam is a special needs father, he's got to deal with the fact that his daughter is going to be living a much more normal life than he is, and she eventually her horizons will be broader than his will ever be. Unfortunately, because of his mild intelligence,
But
he
this
will
is
never
that's
have the opportunities that she is probably going to have.
but the prosecution is jumping on all this and using all that against him.
Yep. This is how you distinguish between the sharks and the schools of fish.
Nicely said.
But in any case, they go through several things. I mean, once they knock down the psychologist, they bring another psychologist in, and this one brought in by the defense, and she basically has a different opinion than the other one, and seems to be more knowledgeable than the other one. You know,
Pretty much, yes.
in fact, they tried to, you know, insult her, or at least the one guy tried, but he failed. Um, ultimately, in the end, though, as we figure out, she ultimately did have to go and live with some foster parents.
Yes. Or was there two foster
At
parents
least
around
after
the
the court
apartment?
stuff. After the court stuff, at least.
Yeah, what's the court proceedings? It's actually right before the court proceedings started, they had put her in a temporary home or whatever,
Yep.
and I felt so bad for Sam after their first court date because he thought, with his first court date with the lawyer, he
Yeah.
thought that now that he had the lawyer, everything was going to be fixed, and then when they said that she couldn't come home with him, he was so crushed. I felt so bad for him.
Yes.
What do you mean she can't come home with me? I'm her father.
Yes. It really is kind of fucked up.
But it's the way the cookie crumbles in this world. If they don't think that you're responsible enough, they will take your control away. And to be fair and honest, it'll happen way before you can get it back.
Yeah. Well, at the same time, there are so many parents who are perfectly intellectually capable, yet they treat their children like garbage.
Even if you didn't have any kids, if society thought that you couldn't live on your own, there would be some nosy neighbor that would call the authorities, and they would investigate you, and you could be without a home within a week.
Look at Don.
Yep.
Because they said that he could not take care of himself, and I understand that he couldn't, but I don't think that they had to move as fast as they did. I don't think that they had to go to the extreme that they did as fast as they did. But it was out of my hands.
I think that taking this vehicle away should have been the first thing.
Huh.
Well, he took his our friend Don, in his right mind, took his vehicle to Walmart, and
He wasn't in his right mind when he did that. That was because they released him home with no supervision or whatever, said it was okay for him to go home, and he went on a joyride, and then ended up getting picked up and taken to the hospital where I had to go get him. And I had to deal with him screaming at me and thinking that I was not on his side at first, and everything, because his mind wasn't working right. The thing is, I think they should have put him maybe in an assisted living place where he still had a place of his own first. I can see taking the vehicle away, but still put him, because he definitely did need supervision. There was no room for him to come here. Neither one of us were going to go live there. So that all those options were all out, but we knew he needed supervision. And the state just totally jumped on that big time. Just, okay, we're going to plop him here now, because the hospital says that they're not going to keep him anymore. He's not working out in the other couple places they sent him. He wasn't working out in, because they didn't have things under control with him. He needed to have certain medications and stuff, And once they had that all straightened out, he was doing a lot better. But
Right. Yeah, like I said at the beginning, they could have given them someone who would help him take care of his daughter. instead of taking her away from him.
Yep. And then they play when they placed her in that home. The or the foster parents were actually going to turn around and try to adopt her, but by that time, I do believe that Sam had actually moved to an apartment nearby.
So, yep, so he could try and spend more time and show that he was fit to take care of her, that he had gotten a better paying job, he got a better apartment because he had to get an apartment where she would have her own room. That was one of
Yeah,
the stipulations for her to come back, and
yeah,
he had to be able to afford that and afford the things to take care of her. And he had done all that, and he was still fighting to get her back, even though he had done everything that they asked.
Oh, yes.
And she wanted to be with him so bad that she was sneaking out of her foster parents' home at night and going over to his house. But he did the right thing. He kept bringing her back.
yep.
You know, we did overlook the one thing though. On one of his visits that he got, um, Lucy convinced him that they could leave, and they did. And you know, he believed her, and she convinced him, and they weren't supposed to leave and go on their little thing. You know,
Hmm.
because then they
Yeah,
then they
they
tried to
accused
accuse him of
him.
kidnapping her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they couldn't prove it though.
No, because the
Even
social worker decided, the lawyer convinced the social worker just to overlook it,
uh-huh.
you know. And but the lawyer did try to bring it up in court, and you know, she's like, "Well, that's his daughter. How is it considered kidnapping?" And you know, what harm was it? They just spent more time together, you know. So
Yeah.
Yes.
yes, the prosecution lawyer was very nasty. He was very, very, very mean. You know, when Sam got, I would consider from the shows I watch and everything that he was like basically badgering him. You know,
Badgering the witness, and the
yes,
judge was allowing it,
yes.
which means the
Yeah,
judge the
good
judge
point.
might be a little dirty.
Well, I think the judge didn't really fully understand his Sam's disability. You know, if the judge would have fully understood his disability, he would have understood that the way that the prosecution was coming at him and the things that they were saying, and how they were badgering him, that Sam could not deal with that, and he couldn't understand these questions because they were coming at him so like, and the questions that the prosecution was putting towards him, he needed to think about before he answered, and he needed a moment, and this guy was just totally relentless. And that would be the way he was coming at him, I think would be difficult for anybody that did not have Sam's disability. But
Pretty
it was
much.
but it was harder for Sam because with his disability he needed the time to think and the time to react to these questions. And nobody was thinking about that or doing that. His lawyer was trying so hard to get him to to stop, you know. But
Yeah, they were putting a lot of pressure on him.
but the prosecution was doing this on purpose because they were trying to show he couldn't handle things and couldn't handle things in life, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, well, the truth is, in such a situation, even a normal person would probably feel overwhelmed and not quite in their full capacity.
Right. I think a normal person would have been overwhelmed in what the prosecution did. And if you think a normal person would have been overwhelmed, just think about how Sam felt.
Yeah, even I, while watching the movie, at moments started to feel some sensory overload from them talking over each other and acting like crap.
Yes, this movie definitely tugged at your heartstrings through like the whole movie because of how poor Sam was treated. You know, it was not right. Nobody
It
was
did.
understanding. Nobody. It even took a while for his own lawyer to understand him. You know.
Yep. It definitely brought
Pretty
me to some
much.
tears. It definitely brought me to some tears.
Sorry about that.
Well, it's hard not to in that kind of situation. It was a tearjerker.
Yes. Well,
Just
and the lawyer ultimately became his friend. So
just seeing how cruel people could
yeah,
be
was there, or did I
was the
misunderstand?
yeah, seeing how cruel people could be was hard to see.
Yes.
So
wasn't this implied that the lawyer also started to have some romantic feelings for Sam?
I don't think so.
I don't think it was romantic. I think she started to love him, but not love him romantically, but love him as a person. And you know, she saw how caring and compassionate he was, and I think he helped her a lot. You know, when she had her little breakdown when she was in his place, you know, and told him you gotta, you know, because he was trying to tell her that she had it good because she was normal and she had a job and she had this and you know and how people look at her compared to how they look at him, and then she let it all out, you know, that she doesn't feel inside any different than he does, you know. So I think Sam learned some, but I think she learned a lot from Sam. So I think she was learning. I think she learned to love him, but not love him romantically.
Yeah, basically.
Pretty much.
So, have we pretty much covered most of it then? I mean, there was a moment where
we did.
Well, there was a moment where he actually did get a promotion and at Starbucks and was able to start making coffee. But once he moved over by his daughter, he got a different job. In fact, he ended up getting a job at Pizza Hut and also walking dogs.
Yep, to supplement his income, as he put it.
So,
but
at the end of everything, you had something to say, Philippe?
At the end, they do resolve something that he doesn't lose the custody of his daughter after all, right?
Right. Because the foster parents were going to say things, not nice things, and the day before the court, she came and she brought Lucy over, and was
Good girl.
it. Sam, I guess, got to her heart, because she said she was going to say this and this, and now she knows better. So basically, everything went different at court because the foster parents were not against him anymore. So.
Yes, that was a good thing.
Alrighty, so at the end of everything, what did we think about production?
I think it was good for what the movie needed to be done. I mean, it's a movie taking place in a world like ours, so nothing out of this world happening. Not much special effects required or anything like that. But for what they did need to do, I'd say everything was done properly.
What about you, Tammy?
I think production was very good. I mean, it showed. I think it showed what does go on, or what could go on. And it was not a movie where you needed special effects or anything like that. That's true. But I think that when they made this movie, I think that they hit it right on the button about what goes on and what can go on, and maybe hopefully people have learned from this movie about people like Sam. And I think that was the most important thing, was for people to realize that there are Sams out in the world, and how they're being treated is not right.
That's a very good point.
Okay. And I think that this movie was put together rather well. I mean, to make me cry most of the movie, at least through a majority of the second act of the movie, just watching him go through what he had to go through, and the cruelty that our government can put someone with a seventh grade reading level or whatnot. A person's intelligence should not be the reason why you take the man's child away, and they should really look more. They should really look more into what people say and whether the shit is true or not, instead of taking a man's whiny little bratty child's complaint to heart. Investigate more instead of just taking everything at willpower. And the child services lady, she should have known better. She was there. Couldn't she see that the child was a whiny little brat? She already had judged before the jury was there. When she was at the police department, you could see what she was thinking, and the cop was actually on the right side of things. Let him go. He's he's one of those where you know that he didn't really know what he was doing, and yet he was still treating him like a regular person, like as if he didn't have a disability.
Right.
You know, a person's disability, when it comes to things of crime, should be taken into factor. You know.
Yes. Definitely.
But in any case, I enjoy it for what it is. It's definitely a psychological drama. It definitely will provoke tears. I almost think that Brandon would think that this is like psychological propaganda because it specifically it made me cry. But I'm not sure how I would feel about that. Certain films that make you cry, Brandon classifies as propaganda that will are made specifically for you to shed a tear or make you feel bad. And I don't know whether this classifies as that kind, but this is definitely one that brought more than a few tears. So I was
the only other movie that I know that brought me to tears that I could right off the top of my head can I say did was Fluke.
That one still brings a tear to my eye. Homeward Bound, that one brings a tear to my eye.
Oh yeah, that one too.
Wanna know one movie that brings tears to my eyes that maybe wasn't even imagined for that effect?
What?
Friend Request.
Oh. Never Ending Story is one. Artex every time.
Somewhat, yeah.
Bambi's mother in Bambi.
Yeah.
In the very beginning. Just thinking of some tear jerkers.
Maleficent.
Not so sure.
Really, you didn't cry before she kissed Aurora and woke her up.
I don't remember. All I know is okay. Snow White in certain Snow White stories.
Which version?
Probably probably the canon version from 1980s.
From 1980s, wasn't the original from 1937 or something?
Yeah, the original was from 1937, but that one didn't make me cry. There was a musical that was done in the 80s, but put out by the company Canon. And they did a lot of fairy tales in the 80s. So Snow White was one of them.
How to Train Your Dragon when the second one.
Interesting.
The second one?
Well, yes, when he tells them to go be with the other dragons.
Oh, that's the third one.
Third one? Oh.
That's the Hidden Kingdom or whatever.
Oh, yeah, when he tells them to go be with the other dragons.
I think the Hidden Kingdom is what it was. But in any case, yeah. As far as music goes, I enjoyed the music because there were different variations of the Beatles, but but there were also original Beatles songs in there.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a lot of references to the Beatles in it.
Yeah, I did like the Beatles references. I couldn't retell them to you at any given point in time because the Beatles are not my thing. But it was I definitely enjoyed the fact that he knew all these facts and used them as life references.
I think his one friend also knew a lot to the one that was a little, you could tell was a little bit more mentally challenged. If you want to, you could tell in his physique that he was a little bit more mentally challenged. I
Yeah,
think he was
I think
somebody who also
he had Down syndrome, the one.
right, and he seemed to know a lot about the Beatles too.
But the dude who also played Percy Wetmore, he also seemed to know a lot too. The one who played the jailer bully, who
And see,
ultimately
that's
got saved.
another thing as far as production goes that um, I think they did a lot by having all these other people with disabilities in the movie. I think was really good on their part.
Yes, I agree. I agree. It showed a little bit of reality, you know. But in any case, let's go to favorite scenes and our favorite characters. How about you, Boris?
It's kind of hard to choose. I did like Sam, of course, but I also did like the lawyer, and I liked Lucy too. So, but yeah, I guess I would have to go with Sam.
What's funny is that there are two Jurassic Park actors in here.
Oh, which ones?
The woman who played Ellie played the foster mother.
The foster mother, yeah, she was also in Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
And um in Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, the second the sequel, the guy who played Eddie, the guy who came with all the gadgets and stuff, along with Ian Malcolm. He's the guy. He's the guy who, when he took the chain on his vehicle and hooked it onto the two campers as they were going off the edge, that he got eaten by one of the Tyrannosaurus Rexes. Well, anyways, he's the guy who plays the lawyer on the other side of the team. He's also a guy who plays in. Do you remember Bates Motel?
Vaguely.
The series.
What?
The series Bates Motel.
The series. I heard of it, but unfortunately I haven't watched it yet.
Okay, well, it's fucking great. Freddie Highmore plays the dude who was in Psycho, Anthony Perkins' character as a kid. Well, the series he played after that, he played an autistic kid who became a surgeon. And the guy who becomes his surrogate father is the guy who's the lawyer here. on the
That
other
was a
side.
good show. The Good Doctor. That was a really good show.
Yep, the Good Doctor. And he also plays the character of Odin in the game God of War Ragnarok. So, just another thing that guy. Oh, and I remember him playing in West Wing a lot. So, as a White House security advisor, I believe. But in any case, that being said, favorite character. You were you done with your favorite characters?
Favorite characters, yes. No favorite scene. Who? Well, I really liked that scene when Sam visited Lucy after she was taken away from him, and she shouted to those people outside that she really wants to be with him. That really moved me. And also, oh yeah, I also liked the moment when the lawyer played the card of the judge's son who overdosed. That was pretty intense. What else? I think I'm forgetting something. I think there was another moment that I also found quite impacting, but now I'm trying to remember what it was. Uh, I don't know. You can say your favorite scenes. Maybe I'll remember it.
Tammy, go ahead.
Well, I think my favorite character is Sam.
Okay.
Lucy would be my second, but it's hard to pick a favorite scene in this because of the type of movie it is. You know, there there was so many powerful things in the movie. It's so many different times. It's just really hard to pick a favorite. I guess one of the scenes I did like a lot though is when Michelle Pfeiffer's character finally loses it in Sam's apartment. She breaks down that wall thing of his, and just she breaks down. She she's basically is trying to tell him that what she goes through isn't any different than him. It's just different things, and she totally blurts it all out and is crying and everything, and has this little breakdown, and Sam turns around and just hugs her, and the two of them are hugging, and it's just, I think that's a really powerful scene.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that pretty much it then?
I guess the only other thing is I thought it was so cute when little Lucy would basically break out of the foster parents' home at night, and you watched her little trip, how she crawl out the window and go walk over to her dad's house. It was cute.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that part was cute myself. All right, so favorite character is probably Sam. Close second is Michelle Pfeiffer's character. I really did not like the prosecutor this time, nor did I like the lady who was the social worker. I think she should have been fired. But well, to me, the social worker was just way too damn nosy. I think they should have left it alone. If they'd have left the situation alone, and that kid, that kid, I wanted to kick his ass. I really wanted someone to blight that fucking dude. Um, you know what I mean?
I think so.
Old fashioned blight. Um, God be damned. But in anyways, um, but one of my favorite parts was when the lawyer kicked his door in, and she saw that he had this wall of origami up, and
Oh yes.
he asked her. She basically crashed it in and was like, "You got to let me in," you know.
Yeah,
I mean,
that leads up to my favorite part. So
yeah. I like that part where he kind of looks at her and she's like, "There's your beautiful eyes. There's your kind eyes. That's the Sam I know." And it's like she's got to talk him into everything, and at the same time, she's realizing that her marriage is crumbling. So when they're sitting at a restaurant, he basically tells her that she's basically got to leave her husband. Right?
yeah,
Well, he wasn't wrong.
Well, no. But that was a huge one. Another one was, I don't know why, but for some reason, when Brent Spiner showed up as the shoe guy for Data, that was a good. I remember him as Data from Star Trek Next Generation. And the fact that they all wanted balloons afterwards, and his look at them like, "You all want balloons?" And they gave him all that change, and he's like, "Well, give me a moment, let me count this," and whatnot, and all of them are giving Sam their opinions of what shoes that she should get, and the one guy who's all paranoid at times comes and brings this like adult sized lady shoe with leopard print. For some reason, I get a kick out of that.
Yeah, it was funny.
But in any case, did anyone else have anything else to add? I think there were more scenes that were touching, but it's this one was a tearjerker, so I didn't want to bring myself to tears again. But
I'm sorry once again.
No, dude, it's gonna happen, and every once in a while we do need a good cry, but hopefully it only happens every so often. But in any case, did anyone else have anything else to add?
No.
Alrighty.
I don't think so.
On that note, hopefully you ladies and gentlemen have enjoyed our discussion on this film. Sorry it wasn't the film that we initially started out with that you wanted to, Boris, but unfortunately there isn't really a kind of way to actually see that movie, at least on our end. So,
Well, I will I haven't had the time for it, but I will try to find some converter that can turn the movie combined with subtitles into a format that everyone can watch.
Hey, that'll make you a smarter computer person. So have at it.
And because of everything too, David, this week is going to be yours.
Yep. So I think I will suggest The Illusionist.
I believe I have that one too.
I know, which is why I suggested it. It'll be easy to take care of it. I believe it's from 2009. If not, you can tell me. It's called The Illusionist. Have you ever seen it before, Boris?
I think I haven't. What year is it from?
I said that it could be from 2009. I may be wrong. I don't know. I know it came out. Huh?
The Illusion is 2009. Or wait. I see one from 2010.
That should be it.
Is it a French movie?
No. I know it's got. Hold on. Now I will.
Oh, I lost them. We lost you, David.
All right. I'm looking for The Illusionist. Is a 2006 film. 3 years earlier than I thought.
Let's see.
Oh, it's on Tubi too.
2006.
It's on Pluto TV. It's on the Roku channel. It's on Fandango at home. It's on the CW for free. It's on Amazon for free. It's on Plex for free.
Jeez, it's everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere except for Croatia.
Well, I believe I will find a way to get it. In the turn of the century, Vienna, a magician uses his ability to secure the love of a woman far above his social standing. Ooh.
Yep, Edward Norton plays in it, and Jessica Biel, along with Paul Giamatti. And from what I understand, Edward Norton is a very tough actor to work with. So, but in any case, on that note, if anyone has any questions, if you haven't seen the movie that we just discussed today, go out and see it. It's definitely worth a watch. Remember, you might actually exhibit some tears. If you have any empathy for the story. But let us know down in the comments what you thought of the movie, what you thought of our discussion, and then we'll see you next week here on Delusions of Grandeur. Everyone say good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Inside movies galore, just makes you just want more. We've had all in the world of media to explore. Horror, anime, or Curious George. Our love of new things was our reward. It is the best night of our week.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.